Well, what's up, folks? Here we are, episode 29. It is the divisional playoff weekend. 2 games today, 2 games tomorrow. We'll get you all lined up and all squared away for the games that are coming up at 4 and 8 this evening. I think the 8 o'clock game holds a lot more weight than the earlier game, but we'll see because Green Bay, things can go one way or the other with them and the Rams. So we'll see how that all plays out. And, of course, we're back here on Facebook for a little bit. I'm going to give you a little bit soapbox talk here when it comes to Facebook. And the reason why we made the switch over to YouTube, we will be back on Facebook temporarily so everyone can end up viewing the show and, of course, having fun with us. And you're always welcome to bring in the chats, bring in the humor. Of course, we expect Joey B and the rest of the gang to come on board. But I would speak to you guys here from the heart here momentarily just when it comes to as far as what and the reason why to switch over to YouTube. Of course, we never get into politics when it comes to our show. We like to keep the politics away from the show, whether it's sports politics, whether it's the actual DC politics. But you got to understand something. This is our world. And whomever you voted for, whatever party you belong to, okay, make sure that your voices are still heard, that we still have our own freedom, that we have our own right to free speech. Because we allow people to take that away from us, then we're going to end up living, unfortunately, in a communist country. And the way we see it is myself, my family, my friends, I'm pretty sure our guests that we're going to have on here momentarily, their family, friends, all who have served. We serve to keep our freedom. We serve to keep our voices heard. So there's only one race. There's not all these different races. One race, many ethnicities. In order for us to keep it all together, we all have to find a way to come together and unite as one. So that's all I have to say as far as when it comes to that. Facebook, of course, has censored a lot of people, and we're hoping that we won't get censored as well. But the reason why we prefer to go over to YouTube versus staying on Facebook, because we don't know what the fallout's going to be. So that's why we've been asking you guys and girls to help us to come over on YouTube and subscribe over to that channel. So I will leave that there. Enough of that talk. Let's enjoy the show. Of course, it is episode 29. Again, the divisional round, we got a big panel of guests. We hope that everyone's going to have fun. By the way, we're running on a brand new platform, so hopefully things don't go wrong. But if they do, we will pop everybody back on. So with that all being said, I'm Angel. This is Broad Street South Sports Talk. And of course, I can't do the show without the co-host, Mike Fuji, a.k.a. Video Corleone himself. So here's Mike Fuji. Mikey, how are you?
What do you know? What do you say? Divisional Saturday and divisional Sunday this weekend. Fired up, ready for some NFL playoffs. How about you, Angel?
Well, it'd be nice, actually, if Tampa was home, because I'm looking out the studio window right now, and it's about, I would say, 71 degrees or so down here. Blue skies, something we haven't seen in about 3 weeks. So it would be a perfect night out there at Ray J Stadium to watch the Bucs hopefully finish off the Saints. But we'll see. It would be it's going to be quite the matchup here. What is it? Later on tonight, if I remember correctly, or tomorrow? It's Sunday game. One of those two.
Tomorrow night.
There you go. So, of course, we also cannot do the show without the Guru. That would be Mike Sherman. Mike Sherman, the Guru. How are you, sir?
I am doing fantastic. And to all those viewers out there, I have one question. Do you like taking the chalk? That's all I want to know. Do you like taking the chalk? I certainly don't. We're going to see what's We're going to see what happens in these games over the weekend.
There's going to be a lot to get to because, of course, we can also throw in a little bit of Eagle talk because we know that Doug Peterson was let go. He's yet to find a job, but according to one of our panels, and I'll let him make the announcement, what he believes could be our next head coach here in Philadelphia. So we got a lot of show to run down. Of course, guest introduced here. So I guess the first guest that I will bring on before I get to the actual segment itself Boyle, the Kansas City Chief fan, I should say. So, Boyle, how are you, sir?
Hello, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Really happy to be here. Thank you for the invitation.
You're welcome. Not a problem whatsoever. And of course, Boyle
You.
likes to represent the Kansas City Chiefs. His other partner, Diego, also another member of the Kansas City Chiefs. But Diego, first of all, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you so much, man.
And I just wanted, because of course we talked off air a little bit. So the interesting dynamic between these two great friends is that not only are they Chiefs fans as far as doing the podcast, but the flip side to it is Diego is actually a 49ers fan, which made it for some interesting talk before we came on air.
I'm doing this just for friendship, and I'm doing this because he's been my friend for 20 years, and he came up to me and said, "You want to do this?" And it's just like, all right, let's do this. I'm not happy about it because they just beat us in the Super Bowl, but I'm here, and I'm glad to talk about this great sport with all you guys that seem to enjoy it so much as I do. And this is the most wonderful time of the year. Christmas got it all wrong. This is it. We're here. We're here to enjoy the divisional round, and we have a lot of teams that we knew that were going to be here, and a lot of teams that we kind of knew that were going to be here. So it's going to be a great playoff run, man.
That it will, that's for sure. And by the way, just to let you guys know, it's the first time we've ever had, not only usually it's me, the one Latin American here on, but we also have Pollo and Diego, which are both from Latino countries from Mexico. So si ustedes quieren hablar en español, by all means, please put the comments there, and I'm pretty sure our guys will answer. So thank you guys both for coming on. Also representing a part of the NFL from the Buzz, the lady herself, Crystal Page. Crystal, how are you?
Hello. How's everybody doing?
Good.
Doing good. How are you?
Well, I'm still in heartache land. I'm still going through my sixth grade processes of grief. So, but another day. Here we go. Playoff.
Don't feel bad because, of course, our next guest here, I'm pretty sure, also feels the way you do. We have Bill from the Seahawks Playbook. Bill, how are you? And thanks for coming back again from last week along with Crystal.
Gentlemen, how you doing? Angel, Mike, Michael, all the rest of the guys. Good to be back. Great to talk playoff football this week again. I'm, disappointed my own team is not there, just like Crystal, but lots of good teams remaining. Lots of good, interesting matchups to talk about. I'm moving on. I'm not in that 6 degrees of a grief thing. I've kind of moved through that already. I try to do that as quickly as possible because it's no fun. But yeah, looking forward to talking football with you guys.
No, we appreciate you coming back on. I think we lost Boyle momentarily. He'll come back on as soon as he signs on. Did we get him back? Let's see. He's probably at the bottom there, but of course, we're also going to bring on Josh here. So bringing on Josh here at the very end, it almost seems like it's a sleeper pick. But Josh, where is he? There he is. Hopefully they'll come in. Nope. We lost Josh here momentarily. So hopefully both of you guys will come back on. So again, I just heard someone chime in again. Where is he? There's Josh. Josh, there you are. Can you hear us?
I can't say browser. Having some difficulties, but here. Hey, gentlemen. Good afternoon. How are you?
Good.
Fantastic.
Thank you for coming on.
And there's Boyle. Let me bring Boyle back on here. There he is. So, Josh, as I was doing the intro, you coming in here, I was saying it because you were the last being introduced. It might be like the sleeper pick with the Ravens, because who knows what the Ravens are going to end up doing. So, and we've seen an early out last year with the Ravens. Hopefully, this time around, maybe not as much, but I think what the reports that we keep hearing is that they finally found, I guess, their legs for the postseason. It seemed like it last week. So I guess I'll start out with you right out the bat here. How do you feel about today's upcoming game?
Actually, I feel pretty confident, especially versus last year, as you mentioned, right? The Ravens found their legs, and I feel like last year was an anomaly, right? They had an incredible year, best year in the franchise, 14-2, number 1 seed. But a 1 or 2 seed have never been favorable for the Ravens, if you believe it or not. They've always been one and done with that road. Their more successful roads, especially the 2 championships, have been wild card, whether it's by division or by wild card itself. And it's a testament, right? road team. You know, the Ravens boast the best record on the road in a long time in the playoffs. Harbaugh's got 8 road wins as a head coach. Ravens have 16 wins overall since 2000 in the playoffs. So I mean, it's something to look at, especially with finding their legs. I feel like when all that, I feel like they're peaking at the right time. Last year, I felt they peaked way too early, and their rest starters. There's a lot in here, and ever since they had the slump, I feel like their midseason slump this year, that game losing streak, they were 6-2 at one point, being 6-5, and had their backs against the wall following that crazy Pittsburgh game that got moved 2 or 3 times with the COVID outbreak. Lamar came back, and he's been playing sharp ball. Not only that, but the team is healthy, the healthiest they've been since week 1, barring the injuries that they had. So, if you ask me, I feel confident as any. I feel like the matchup against Buffalo, they match up really, really well. Both, not even that, but in the trenches, the running game is going to speak for itself. And I really feel like the Ravens can control the narrative tonight again.
I think so as well. And of course, I have my brother who's up in St. Augustine. He is the major Ravens fan. He's been since, obviously he was a Colts fan before the Colts ended up taking off, of course, during the midnight hours from Baltimore. And then when the Ravens came back into town after leaving from Cleveland, before Cleveland became Cleveland again, he's been a Ravens fan since. So I'm pretty sure he's just excited as you are, the other Ravens fans, to see what's going on. Lamar Jackson, I will say this much, very quiet, still staying humble. He's not about himself. He's not about hyping his own ego. I like the way Lamar's been handling himself because it is a lot of pressure, I think, on him the most. Obviously the team, but I think Lamar carries majority of that weight, and I do appreciate the way Lamar is handling himself. And if you had a guess, Josh, what would you think as far as performance, whether it be in passing yards and or touchdown for today's game, what would you think, at least a roundabout of how his performance is going to be today?
I think he's going to have 2 passing touchdowns and still less than 200 yards passing. I feel like that bodes well into the Ravens' favor. If you want to look at you can know if by the past, the Titans game, the playoff loss, Lamar threw for 59 times. The loss against the Titans in November, he threw 29 times, and the playoff win, he threw it for 24 times. So as you see, Lamar, later in his career, might need to be a polished passer, but for right now, just let him go out and ball. And what he does is just beat you with pure athleticism, running the ball and being precision in his passes. I mean, obviously he led the team back with his passes against Cleveland in that crazy game of the year, Monday Night Football. Who could forget that game? One for the ages. But, just be smart with it. I know he had one of his worst throws of the year in the interception against the Titans, but keep the mistakes a minimum. But I don't see him throwing for a lot of crazy yards like, for the 5 touchdowns he did last year and was blazing to his MVP season. I think this is going to be the ground game, but I still feel Lamar's good for a couple touchdowns and possibly 180 passing yards.
Listen, I would have to agree. I think he's going to have a much better game, I think, even from last week. So I wouldn't doubt exactly what you're saying, because I'm pretty sure Lamar will step up. And again, the Ravens at times when needed do step up their game. I think now, of course, with the Titans being out, which they were the ones that destroyed them last year, but I think that kind of boosts the confidence a little bit. And I would actually like to see a rematch, if at all possible, from last year, just to show that maybe, it was just a bad day for Lamar come last season. So this is going to be, I think, the most interesting game for the Ravens, obviously, this season, because it's win and you move on, or lose, and of course you're done. So it's going to be really interesting to see. Crystal, going to you here for a second. Now, first, we know that the Seahawks, they're out of it. We have Tampa and New Orleans coming up. And from us being in currently the Tampa area, what are your thoughts as far as when it comes to the Bucs and the Saints, when we already know that apparently the Saints have already beat the Bucs twice this year?
They have beat the Bucs twice this year. Except Tom Brady is a whole different player when it comes to playoff football. And he just gets in there and just grinds it out. And I think you definitely saw that last week when they beat Washington, because I didn't expect that to happen. I thought Washington's defense would run all over them. I did think that it would help that Donald was hurt, but now Donald's back and switched sides and is up in Green Bay now. So he can't be that hurt. I think that's me.
It might be you.
Sorry. But it's the father of time, championship title. Here we go. Brees versus Brady. Who's gonna retire? Who's gonna maybe make it to the Super Bowl? I think Brady has more to gain with a win here. He's never lost to twice to the same team, let alone 3 times, and that was to the Saints. But I think that they're probably a different team going into it tomorrow evening than they were during regular season. I think Foresight coming in is going to bring a new element to them as well. So, I'm going with my hometown team here. I got to, just because I think all of my friends would kill me if I didn't. But as much as I'm not a fan of that guy, I think he's going to pull out a win against the Saints.
Yeah,
but I'm making a bold prediction for this one because I think he's been doing lots very last minute, and I think Mike Evans hasn't really had any really big plays this year. So I'm going with a touchdown in the last 2 minutes, Tom Brady to Mike Evans to win the game.
I mean, yeah, I'd have to agree because obviously Tom is not one of those guys. I know things did not end well with him with the Patriots last season, and I'm pretty sure he's trying to shake that off and saying, that was, again, one of those little weird flukes when he came to New England. He wants to prove to all the fans in Tampa that he can get the job done. He's got enough talent on the Buccaneer squad, so I'm pretty sure he can get the job done. I have no doubt that he can't pull it off. Before we get to the next segment here, of course, and I'm losing my voice a little bit, so don't mind me. I'll take a sip of water here shortly, but the next segment, of course, will be brought to you by here, For the Bay Clothing Company, forthebayclothingcompany.com. And if I can switch over here, the cameras here real quickly. Let me hide that one, bring this one up here. For the Bay Clothing Company, if you guys are looking for and you live in the Tampa area, don't even live in the Tampa area. If you're looking for Tampa gear just because you visited Tampa and you really liked it, For the Bay Clothing Company makes some great quality T-shirts. Very soft. They can wash after wash. The material that they use does not come off, and they use a local artist for all their designs. So if you guys go to For the Bay Clothing Company, you can see the City collection, the Rays collection, the Bucks collection. There's mugs, there's Pilsners, there's bracelets. You guys take a look at forthebayclothingcompany.com, and then they have just some really nice merchandise. So even you guys here on the panel, if you guys want to take a look, go to forthebayclothingcompany.com. We'd appreciate it. Of course, now I'm going to get to Bill because, Bill, I want to ask as far as what come Green Bay, because I'm pretty sure that's your other best friend other than the Seahawks. But for Diego and Pollo, so Kansas City, they're the defending champions. So they got probably the most pressure on them out of anybody. Out of any of these games this weekend, I think it's KC. KC looks like, and I use it loosely, looks like they can move on to the AFC Championship game. But the Bills are looking pretty legit. So I like to get the take from both of you guys. Does Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid have enough to beat the Buffalo Bills?
Yeah, you mean the Browns right now, right?
The Browns, yeah.
I'm going to jump right in before. The Browns. I'm going to jump right in, and then I'm going to give the voice to Pollo. We've been talking about this the whole year on our podcast in Chiefs Kingdom en Español. Saludos a la gente latina. There you go. And we've been talking about this all year. And me not being a Chiefs fan, it's tough for me to acknowledge that this team has no weakness. It's incredible. They have a little bit of weakness when it comes to linebackers. They had a little struggle when it comes to the safeties at the beginning of the season, but they actually have a perfect team. And the Kansas City Chiefs are not trying to build a championship team. They try to build a dynasty. And they have what it takes to be a dynasty with the coaching staff, with Patrick Mahomes, who is en route to become one of the best quarterbacks in the league. If not, he's already is. And it's going to be tough. But the thing that scares us the most as Kansas City Chiefs, I'm not a huge fan, but I like the team. That scares us the most is that the Cleveland Browns, we had no idea that they were going to be here. We kind of knew that we were going to be here because they were getting better year after year, but we always say that about the Browns. We're just like, here comes the Browns, and they are not here. Here comes the Browns, and they're not there. So now it's a reality, and they're here. And the way they won the last game against a huge rival, a division rivalry, They make them that makes them very dangerous, a very dangerous team, a very strong team, because the will of win is a little bit more stronger maybe than the Kansas City Chiefs. But Pollo, I give you the word. You're a little bit more careful with your words because you're actually a huge Chiefs fan. So I know that you don't explode and say, yeah, we're the best, but you kind of knew that this is the best team in the NFL.
I mean, yes, we're the best team in the NFL since day one, right? But you see the last games, they're not finishing strong. Plus, some say rest is equal to rust, right?
Right.
That might be, but if you go back the last year, the Chiefs were rusty in the playoffs. We started by losing 24-0 against the Texans, and then boom, 52-38-31 was the last score. So I'm not really scared about the rust in Mahomes, in Andy Reid, in the offense. What I'm really scared is in the defense, because you can't practice tackling. Okay, you can't practice tackling. The only way you can practice tackling is in a game. The Chiefs starters haven't played against in 20 days. So we're one of the worst tackling teams in the NFL, and we're going against a two-headed monster. I mean, maybe it's not a monster, it's a beast, a tyrant, two-headed tyrant with Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb. We have to tackle every single play. I know we can't tackle man-to-man, so we have to gang tackle. We have to hustle every single play. But that is, it's tired for the defense. Like Diego said, our weakness is in the linebackers.
Right.
Not only man-to-man, we're not really good at linebacker, but we have a couple of injuries in there and some COVID problems. So I don't know how they're going to step up in tomorrow's game. They have to step up some way, either the line, the defensive line, or the strong safeties. They have to help out a lot in this game.
I agree. I think Kansas City, it's funny, and Rick made a comment here, and I saw the other comments. I'm going to get back to you guys here momentarily. Rick said that KC is a second half team, which, I mean, that we've seen, especially come last year. But I think Patrick Mahomes, it's interesting enough, I was talking to Josh earlier about, as far as when it comes to Lamar Jackson, that would be an interesting matchup. And I forgot, of course, the matchup between the Bills and Ravens and so on. But I would almost like to see if Kansas City can and will, I'm pretty sure, should win today against the Bills. But I like to see that matchup because I think Patrick and Lamar is not anywhere near where Patrick Mahomes is. But I think Lamar can possibly step up and actually take the Ravens in on the AFC Championship game. But that personally, just on a personal level, I would like to see those two guys go head to head. As far as Patrick Mahomes, I mean, he does obviously carry his team on his shoulders. He makes the good thing about Patrick Mahomes is he does make adjustments on the fly. The defense, it takes them a little bit to kind of gel together. Sometimes they come out strong. The offense, tends to flatten out early, but they do come back in the second half. But as far as when it comes to Patrick Mahomes, I really like the intensity that he brings. Come playoff time where Kansas City should be winning this game against the Bills, I think Josh Allen will have a little disruption when it comes to that. And it's not guaranteed saying that KC is going to make it. I know it's probably going to be a bunch of KC fans saying you're nuts, but it's just my own funny feeling. But I'd agree with, especially with the way Diego came out explosively saying as far as it came to the team itself. So to me, that's going to be one of the better matchups for the weekends as well. But I would like to see, again, barring that the Chiefs do pass on, move and beat the Browns, which we were supposed to have Joe representing the Cleveland Browns here. But if they can pass beating the Browns, which the Browns you cannot take lightly, and we saw what they did last week, I like to see that matchup between KC and the Ravens. Bill, my question to you, sir, is that we saw what Green Bay can do in the regular season. Game, we know that you can get one of two of Aaron Rodgers. Either you're going to get a really explosive Green Bay offensive line, and or it takes them a while to start building, almost like that slow momentum with a train. It finally starts going to gear and slowly going, and we've seen that from Aaron Rodgers. we know that you're a Seahawks fan, but you do follow the NFL. How does Green Bay look to you in today's game?
Well, I think they're going to be a tough matchup for any team. They do face probably the premier, the toughest defense in all of the NFL in the Los Angeles Rams this week that plan to slow them down. They have a number of ways they like to do that. Aaron Rodgers, conversely, is one of the best quarterbacks getting the ball out quickly, dumping off things to his running backs out of the backfield, using the middle of the field for the quick pass slant games and things like that. With good line calls at the line of scrimmage, he can change out of plays, something that Seattle was unable to do last week. And then Devontae Adams on the outside is a tremendous threat. Rodgers is going to have to find a way to get him involved in the game. Last week, DK Metcalf was shut down by the Rams, Jalen Ramsey, and it'll be interesting to see that matchup, Jalen Ramsey versus Deontay Adams. The Rams are going to play in a zone 2 high safety a lot. They're going to show a lot of different packages to the Green Bay Packers to kind of slow them up a little bit. The one way on the other side of the ball that you can take advantage of Green Bay is you can run the ball on them a little bit. In fact, the games that they lost this year against Tampa Bay, Minnesota, and Indianapolis, each of those teams rushed for over 140 yards against Green Bay, controlled some of that clock, kept Green Bay's offense off the field, and we were able to kind of dictate terms in those games. Last year, I don't know if you remember, the 49ers went into to that matchup, and the 49ers ran all over them. 42 rushes, 285 yards, 37 points. Garoppolo barely had to lift a finger throwing the ball in that game at all. So if you're going to have a chance against Green Bay, you need to keep the score close at halftime. That's the only way the Rams can do it. Rams don't score a lot of points on offense and will not in this game. I don't see them reaching more than 20 points. So you're going to have to figure out a way to disrupt Rodgers, maybe have a turnover or two. That'll give yourself a chance and run the ball. Otherwise, I see Green Bay kind of running away with this thing in the second half.
No, earlier the question was asked, of course, before we came on air, is that who is going to be the next head coach for, of course, the Eagles, because we learned obviously Doug Peterson was gone this week. Not surprising, especially the way he ended his last game with the Eagles. Now, Bill, you had an interesting candidate that you mentioned. Who is the candidate you mentioned that could possibly be the next head coach for the Philadelphia Eagles?
Well, I guess it's been reported out there by Pelissero this morning that Brandon Staley, the defensive coordinator for the Los Angeles Rams, has been invited to speak with the team this weekend for a first interview, either via Zoom or in person, depending on the wins or losses out of this divisional round. But it sounds like he's going to interview for the Eagles head coach job. And I think it would be a good, solid pickup for the Eagles, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Very innovative, younger guy, lots of experience shutting down, premier offenses, has the number one DVOA defense in the league this year.
Well, I mean, there's been a bunch of different, obviously head coaches gone. We've seen, obviously the Jets, Eagles, work their magic. Urban Meyer and Josh, I want to know your opinion as far as when it comes to Urban Meyer. So Urban Meyer, we learned obviously in 2018, he decided to step away from Ohio State because for him it was health concerns, and that's what the deal was. There was also rumors back in 2018 that he wanted a particular team that he wanted a head coach for, but the team that he wanted apparently didn't want him. So then the Jaguars come calling. Now Urban Meyer says that he's okay to coach and that he will watch as far as his health, quote unquote, to see how the season goes. So being on the AFC side of the ball, Josh, Urban Meyer, a good pick for the Jaguars, and will it hurt the rest of the division? Or was something for the Jaguars that decided, you know what, we're going to need to kind of shake it up a little bit and let's get a college guy like they did, Eagles did with Chip Kelly?
No, I think it's a great hire. Urban's a proven winner no matter where he's going. What's going to be quite interesting with this is the jump from college to NFL. I mean, Nick Saban tried it, didn't work out. There's some coaches, right, that are just best suited for college. Pete Carroll's had success, obviously, with the Seahawks fans on board here. He's had tremendous success jumping from the college ranks into the NFL. I mean, he kind of went back and forth, right? Pete Carroll was former Patriots head coach, and kind of went back to college, had success there, and obviously he's built up Seattle's program and is rewarded with Super Bowls and extensions. So Urban, I like to hire, especially for the AFC. I mean, Jaguars. It's a nice project, right? You're coming in from the ground up and saying, let's do it. He's got the number 1 pick right off the bat. So I expect it to be Trevor Lawrence. So it's going to be good for Jacksonville, especially with the way the division is right now. Obviously, Tennessee tops in the division with the Colts right there. Obviously, I'm certainly with the quarterback position there in the future. And then with Texans and the issues they have, it's going to be an interesting dynamic. But I like to see what he does with a ground up project, right? He doesn't have 4- and 5-star recruits here. It's the NFL. It's a totally different animal. And he's used to losing 1, maybe 2 games a year from going on. You're going from a Jacksonville team who just lost 15 in a row, 1-15 first-round pick or first overall pick. So I'm excited for him. I've always been one to fancy his style. He's rooted hard for him. He's been one of my favorites. Him and Nick Saban are just the best at their craft, and I'm excited to see what he can bring to the NFL ranks. And when you said something about his health,
right.
I did read what Urban said. He literally said, and I'm paraphrasing, obviously I don't have the quote in front of me, but he said, I looked at this from all angles. So knowing that he's probably smarter, now he probably did look at it and say, look, my health's in question. Let's take a look at this. Is it worth it? I know it came out that he wanted so much money a year. All the rumors were swirling, and then all of a sudden it came together this week. So I'm excited for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Obviously, they're in the AFC, but fortunately, they're not in our division as far as the AFC North is concerned. So I can root from afar, right? And it's going to be interesting to see what his success is and the winning the winning footprint he can instill in.
Froze up for a minute. I'll come back. Oh, no, didn't come back. All right. Come back momentarily. I'm pretty sure things freeze up. That's the way it happens, folks. It's live. It's just the way things work. So it'll happen. Now, Josh, when he comes back, of course, he brought up Urban or Nick Saban, which would be interesting because there's still the Texans that are available as far as for a head coach, and obviously the Lions. 2 of the teams, and supposedly the Lions are in talks with, and I hope I'm almost right on this one, the Bills defensive coordinator, if I remember correctly, is in. I believe they're in talks with to become the next head coach. Boyle, I'll ask you, Lincoln Riley is still available, and maybe a convincing Nick Saban, if you can pull him out. Would Lincoln Riley be a good fit as far as when it comes to Houston, Texas, just from what he has from college?
Oh, I mean, it's hard to bring college coaches to the NFL. If you ask me what's the best fit for the Texans, I think it's Eric Bieniemy, the offensive coordinator from the Chiefs, because he knows how to play out with a dynamic quarterback, like he has been doing with Patrick Mahomes. So if you ask me, go with something or someone that that has been doing it for a couple of years. I mean, Nick Saban, you saw what happened with him in the Dolphins, right? He didn't have any success. He went back to college, and he was really, really good again. So I'm one of those guys that thinks college football, they're actually really well paid, those coaches. So leave them over there. Yes, Philly fans, tell me what happened with Chip Kelly. The Niners fan, what happened with Jim Harbaugh? Eric Bieniemy is a really, really great coach. He's a really great leader. You need that in as a head coach, a leader of men. That's how they call him in the Chiefs. So if you ask me, who's the best fit? Eric Bieniemy, hands down.
Okay. Well, then, you brought up Jim Harbaugh. So Diego, now Harbaugh, we saw what could have, should have, would have happened. And it came up short. He's been with Michigan now, and the rumor was last year they were supposed to have let him go. but now they sign him to a 5-year extension, of course, a lot lower money. Are you surprised that Michigan has still held on to Jim Harbaugh, even though he's had okay seasons, but yet has win, or at least to get him into the playoffs?
Well, he has the attitude to be a high school, a college coach. He's a fiery guy. He's always exploding. We've seen him fighting with Lions coach. I forgot his name, and then fighting with Pete Carroll. He's a guy that's always fighting with someone. He's always yelling at someone, and I'm not surprised that Michigan decided to keep him, because even though he came up short and he almost won a Super Bowl with the 49ers, he doesn't have that that NFL coachness to it when it comes to his personality. This is just an opinion, because there's a lot of 49ers fans that actually want him back. And this is like, bring Harbaugh back, bring Harbaugh back. I'm actually super happy with Shanahan, because he has that mind that you need, that Harbaugh has, but he has that calmness in rebuilding a team. And I don't think Harbaugh had that calmness in rebuilding something. He wanted to get the win. He wanted to get the trophy now. And if it's not now, I'm going to get pissed. I'm going to yell at people. And that doesn't register well with a lot of coaches and with a lot of the system of the NFL. Now, you were talking earlier, just I wanted to comment something about what Pollo said when it comes to the Texans. You talked about Bieniemy and talked about having a versatile quarterback. Now, is Deshaun Watson going to be there in Houston? I'm seeing news that's saying Deshaun Watson has no plans to return to the Houston Texans.
Right.
So Bieniemy is going to go to the Houston and going to say, no, who's my quarterback now? And he's not going to have a quarterback. And there's a lot of rumors that the Niners are going to try to make a run for Watson. And there's a lot of things going on right now that we can actually dig into. But going back to your question, I'm not surprised that Michigan, he's paying him a lot of money. He's having a lot of like a huge NFL salary in Michigan. So I think he's happy there. I think he should stay there and not gamble with a college coach right now, and stay with the ones that are proven, like Eric Bieniemy, like Pollo said.
So I'm going to now go back on what you had just said, as far as, because of course you follow the 49ers as well. So Jimmy Garoppolo, what's been said, and who knows, because if Deshaun Watson goes to San Fran is trying to trade Garoppolo back to New England, because New England doesn't care too much for Cam Newton, even though they say that he's not a problem, but they don't care too much for him. So do you think that Garoppolo would be okay to go back to a team who was forced to be traded out and go into San Fran?
Not at all. The 49ers have a history of making quarterbacks angry. The same thing happened with Alex Smith when he got benched for calling Kaepernick. And he was like, dude, I am the number one quarterback. I have the number one quarterback rating, and you're benching me just because I got hurt. And he got angry, and then he was sent away to Kansas City. And now if they do this again, they're going to make Jimmy Garoppolo angry, and they're going to have this reputation of 49ers. They don't care about their players. They just want to win, which is kind of true. I mean, this is a business. I know this is a sport, but this is still a business, and you want to win. And I don't think he's going to take it that well. I don't think he's going to come on top. The thing that scares me the most is that I've been hearing rumors about the Niners going for Watson, and they're talking about giving away Deebo Samuel and giving away Nick Bosa. Yeah. And that's too much for me. I don't want to give Nick Bosa away. The guy's a beast. He's a monster. I want Nick Bosa, and I don't think it's worth it. But there's been a lot of rumors, and I don't think that the Niners right now need this Deshaun Watson quarterback. I think they should stay with Jimmy and give him another chance and just try it again with the team healthy, and try it again. They went to the Super Bowl last year. Let the team heal and give it one more go with Jimmy Garoppolo.
I think so too. But if Jimmy decides he just wants to take a break for a year, I tell you where he could go. He could possibly go over there to Last Out Media, and he could become a broadcaster or a podcaster. He's got the voice and the talent for it. So maybe he needs to reach out to John and Vince there at lastoutmedia.com. And hey, it always works out in the broadcast booth. So who knows what's going to happen. So Fuji, I want to ask you a question then, since we're talking about Desean and all the things going on here in the NFL. Would you, if you're the Eagles, would Howie, which we know that's not going to happen anyways, but I'll put you in the GM seat. What would you want for Deshaun Watson?
I would say Eric Bieniemy, or who's the gentleman out of Buffalo, the offensive coordinator, Brian. Can't think of his name.
Can't think of his name. I'm thinking
Anybody? Brian.
Whatever Brian, I can't remember exactly.
Brian, the offensive coordinator.
Yeah, the ball.
For the Chiefs?
For the Bills.
Oh, for the Bills? Oh, it is Brian.
Brian the ball.
Where is it?
Brian Nimble?
Dable.
Dable?
Yeah, Dable.
I would say Eric Bieniemy or that gentleman. I mean, for Deshaun Watson.
As far as for Deshaun Watson, meaning that if you were the GM, you got to pull the trigger now. All right, you got
first trade.
So my thing is, who would you trade for? As far as you're now the GM, you're looking at the Texans and saying, okay, you don't like what's going on there in Houston. Come to Philly. Now we know that you have to put a package together to bring them over. So then, who do you bring along with? Who do you make the trade?
Well, when I was listening to Sean Salisbury, he's host of the Houston radio station down there. I mean, they at least want 2 number 1 picks and a big top player. I mean, that was the rumor the other day with the 49ers. They wanted to give up Joey Bosa and I think at least 1 or 2 draft picks for Deshaun Watson. I mean, the 49ers have no problem getting out of the Garoppolo contract from what I've heard.
Right.
I mean, they might have to eat up 1 more year, but if I were the Eagles, I mean, probably give up 2 number 1s and a Fletcher Cox.
Ooh.
Wow.
I mean, Fletcher Cox is due to make $65 million this year. So I would unload that, and Deshaun Watson just got paid last year. But the thing of the piggyback off it is the Carson Wentz contract. I mean, you're going to have to eat up $34.6 million if you trade Carson Wentz. So I don't know if the numbers would crunch right. But if I wanted Deshaun Watson, 2 number 1s and Fletcher Cox.
All right, I'm going to, before I get to our sports contributor, Josh, what you end up missing out on was that, so we're talking about Jimmy Garoppolo possibly going back to New England. Apparently New England wants his services back there for the Ravens, being part of that division up there, up that way at least. You got Garoppolo possibility of going back to the Patriots. I asked Diego, which he believes he shouldn't go anywhere. He should stay right there in San Fran, and I'm right there. I don't think Garoppolo should go anywhere. I think he's got a bum rap just as much as Alex Smith has. Alex Smith, I believe, and he should win the comeback player of the year. Even with all his injuries, I think he's probably the most intriguing story of the NFL this season compared to his injuries last year. I'm going to put you as the Ravens GM. We know that you guys have Lamar. Do you make a push, if needed, for Deshaun Watson over to the Ravens?
Excuse me.
I don't think you can hear me. Josh, can you hear me? Josh, I don't think his.
No.
Right. So, all right. So, I will get to as far as Bill and Crystal here in a minute, but Sherman, which we know that all season long between Sherman and the Shermanators has been careful what you wish for. What would you say for Deshaun Watson, a trade, possibly for Carson Wentz, or do a blockbuster trade as they do in the NBA, somehow 3 ways to get rid of Carson, add Deshaun Watson to your lineup?
Wow, there's so many pieces of the puzzle that you would have to put together in order to do that. If the Eagles are going to find a way to bring Deshaun Watson in to Philadelphia, the first thing that I'm moving is Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz is due a lot of money, and if you can move him to a team like the Houston Texans to get rid of that salary, then that's what you do, because Deshaun Watson, he's a dynamic player, and if you think about the numbers that he put up this year without the services of DeAndre Hopkins, right? He's definitely a worthy quarterback. If the Eagles were to find a way to get him, I think the Texans would need to get some sort of serviceable quarterback in return. So that would probably start with Carson Wentz. As Fuji was saying, in terms of 2 number 1s in Fletcher Cox, it would probably take a boatload to ship off to Houston. But, Howie, hopefully he can find a way if he's really going to try to bring Deshaun Watson into Philadelphia to maybe work out a three-way deal with teams where he doesn't have to give up as much. The Eagles do have the number 6 pick in the draft this year, and I know that everybody's talking about getting that wide receiver from Alabama who was just ridiculous in the national championship game. I personally don't think that Devonta Smith will be there at 6, but, if the Eagles were able to find a way that they could trade up to number 3 or to number 2 to get their hands on him and work some sort of deal. Personally, I don't think Deshaun Watson is going to come to Philadelphia. The reports seem to think that Carson Wentz, now that Peterson is out of town, that Carson Wentz is still going to be here. And with a new coach and Carson Wentz still here, it's going to be a soap opera in Philadelphia for a couple of years. And it's going to take a while before they get better. The only thing that they have going for them is that next year they're going to be playing a last place schedule. And hopefully with the last place schedule, just like the 49ers, as Diego had talked about, right? Let them get healthy. The 49ers play a last place schedule next year. If Garoppolo is healthy and, they play that last place schedule, they could be right back in the NFL playoffs and maybe back to the Super Bowl as well.
It could be. Now, before I get back to everybody else here, apparently we're having a little bit of technical difficulty. So right now you guys can hear me, but you can't see me.
Yes.
Yeah.
I got an NFL divisional picks.
There you go.
There you go. Hey.
Okay. Apparently, I guess when so again, this is what happens when things go live. Usually, if I click on a picture with using the software beforehand, it comes on, goes away. So unfortunately, apparently it's one of those things that it comes and goes. So bear with us as we're all trying to get together with all these different situations going on here. Josh, can you hear us? Josh might still be having audio issues. Josh? Josh, can you hear us? No. I don't even think he can. I'm pretty sure he can see us. Okay. He'll come back.
There he goes.
All right. So now, we lost Fuji too. So, okay, we'll come back. It might be something within the browser. Who knows? Again, it's brand new, so I apologize for everyone out there. If we lose, gain people back, I apologize. As far as, and Bill and Chris, I'll share this both with you guys. Obviously, the Browns are looking pretty good compared to obviously from seasons past. You're looking at a young quarterback that wasn't believed to take the Browns into their playoffs, and now he is proving a lot of naysayers wrong. Do the Browns, again, as I asked earlier, now may possibly have enough to beat KC? And I guess, Crystal, I'll start with you.
I think they do. If they come out and they played like they did last Sunday.
Yeah.
Last Sunday. I think Chubb and Hunt are going to run away with this game. I think Kansas City's defense is not there to stop those two, and they're going to be monsters on the field. I don't think you're looking at a quarterback to a quarterback game. I think you're looking offense to defense, who can control the clock better. You keep Kansas City offense off the field. Browns go in and start this game off with a bang like they did last week. Kansas City's not going to be able to catch up. They're not going to be able to catch up. The one thing that I would say with Kansas City is they have been a second half team up until the last couple weeks. So if the Browns get tired out, which does happen with the Browns, that's where Kansas City is going to be able to come back and win it.
Bill?
But they haven't done that. So we'll see what happens.
It's true.
Patrick Mahomes has got 38 touchdowns and 6 interceptions on the year, but 4 of those interceptions came in the last 3 games. That's one chance that the Browns have, is to maybe cause some turnovers like they did last week against Pittsburgh. They went up 28-0 in the first quarter over Pittsburgh, and they held that lead even though the Pittsburgh came back and tried to come back in that game. I just don't see it. I really don't. Roethlisberger had 68 dropbacks, and Cleveland didn't have any sacks, hardly had any pressures on him That's a concern when you're facing Patrick Mahomes. You want to be able to get into his face, pressure him, disrupt the timing, all that kind of stuff. When you look at Tyreek Hill, he leads the league in deep passes for touchdowns with 11. With 8. That's first in the NFL. The one thing that I think Cleveland will be able to do is pass the ball to Hunt out of the backfield and to their tight ends. I think that they should be able to get some yards that way. I do see this as kind of a higher scoring game. I think both teams won't be able to stop each other very well, but I do believe that Kansas City just has too much gas in the tank in this game.
All right. Multitasking here. So I think the same way too when it comes to I don't know. I in a way I would like to see, of course, the Bills end up winning it. Browns pulling it off. It's going to be hard for both teams, obviously, to get to that next level. At least I don't foresee it. We got the Rams, and we got our 2 other games tomorrow, and I'm going to flip this back. Hopefully, it'll work. So let me know. I'll flip it twice so that if it doesn't come back. But of course, the games today, 4:35. We got LA Green Bay, then the Ravens and Bills at 8:15 later on tonight. Tomorrow, the 3:05 game, Browns Cleveland, and of course the Bucs Saints, which we haven't talked about much. That's a 6:40 game tomorrow. Can everyone see me again?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So as far as and before we let go, because I know the games are starting up here very shortly. Josh, Bucs, Saints, your thoughts, and as far as maybe even a prediction as far as the score for those two come tomorrow night.
Yeah, it's always hard to beat a team 3 times.
Well,
Oh man, we lost him again.
well, we'll wait for him to come back. It might be so the only difference is if you're too far away, if you're using Wi-Fi from your router, sometimes that'll trigger your browser, unfortunately, to come off. So, Diego.
Yeah.
I'll go with you. Tampa, New Orleans. Who wins, and what do you believe the score is?
Well, here's the difference between those two teams. When you come to New Orleans, they're not new to this playoff thing. They've been at it for a couple of years, and they've been here. They know how to play a playoff game, and they have a solid team. When it comes to Tampa Bay, it seems like the Tampa Bay general manager just threw cash all over the place to get that ring. That wanted to do. Let me just throw cash to Tom Brady, to Gronkowski, bring Antonio Brown, and let me bring all those guys so we can get the ring and then send all these guys to the retirement home, and that's it. So they have this urgency in them for Tampa to have that, to win this game and get the ring. And then in New Orleans are going to bounce back if they don't do it. Even if Drew Brees retires, they're going to come back. They have a solid backbone, but not Tampa. Tampa has this one shot, like Eminem says, one opportunity to go get that ring. If they don't get it, I don't see them coming back. So I think that urgency is going to help Tom Brady to get the win, and they're going to go to the next phase because they have that urgency to beat the Saints and get that. And besides, Tom Brady is a man of records. He wants to play in Tampa. He wants the Super Bowl. He wants to be the first quarterback to play the Super Bowl in the town of one of the teams playing the Super Bowl. So he wants that. He's hungry for that. So I'm going to go with Tampa. It's going to be a high-scoring game, 42-38. There you go.
Oh, wow, okay. So, Pollo, then I'm going to go with you, of course, because you're representing your Chiefs. Who wins that game? And then what do you think the final score ended up being for the Chiefs?
I mean, I'm all with all you. It's going to be a high-scoring game. It's all about the quarterbacks. Just like in the Bucs game, Tom Brady is going to be playoff Tom Brady. Well, in Mahomes, it's going to be playoffs Mahomes. He's a different kind of player in the playoffs. So I really think it's going to be something like 32-28, the favorite of the Chiefs.
Okay. So, well, Fuji, I'll get yours, and along with Sherman. So, Crystal, Green Bay, Rams.
Oh, I'm going with Green Bay. Well, I'm still mad at the Rams, but besides that, Golf is going up there with a broken thumb in the freezing cold. He's never played in cold weather like that. He doesn't know what he's getting into. Green Bay is just going to run all over them. They're going to run all over them. The only way Goff and the Rams are going to pull off this win is if they played exactly like they did against us last week in Seattle. They're going to have to throw the ball short. They're going to have to run the ball a lot, and they're going to have to control that clock. That's the only way that the Rams are going to come out on a win with this. I don't see this being a high-scoring game. I would probably go. I'm going to go 18-24 Green Bay. Sorry.
Okay. So, Bill, I will give you the Ravens Bills since you lost Josh. But Ravens Bills, your prediction and then the score.
You know, the Seahawks faced the Bills earlier in the year, and I was really impressed with their offense. It was at a time where we were in transition, coming off some of the worst defense that we'd played all year and transitioning into some of the better defenses that we had. So we weren't quite yet matching up with them very well, but very impressive. Josh Allen was very impressive, both with his arm and his legs. He's able to score touchdowns. I think they have a number 4 overall DVOA offense in the league. They have at least 20 first downs in all 16 of their games. I think nobody's going to be able to stop their offense, including Baltimore. And then as far as Baltimore goes on offense, Lamar Jackson's really coming into his own. He's able to rush the ball when he needs to, pull it down, run, move the chains. The Buffalo Bills are going to have a hard time with that. I just think that this is going to be a pretty high-scoring game. But I do see it as 27-24 Bills in the end.
Yeah, see, I'm feeling the same way as far as the Bills pulling it off, and Bills KC for AFC Championship game, but we will see how that ends up working. I strongly believe that's going to happen. Before I get, of course, to my sports contributor, my co-host here, just to make sure that if you guys are out there, and ladies, of course, would like to follow any of our guests, Bill Offset, of course, has the Seahawks Playbook podcast, and you want to listen to a professional audio podcast, follow him on Twitter. Don't miss an episode, as we've been trying to catch up with everything that's going on, but taking the time as well to listen to Bill. Just to break down itself, and I've said it many times when Bill's been on, if you know nothing, the same way when it comes to Crystal, if you guys know absolutely nothing when it comes to Seahawks, tune in, because I swear you'll have the same breakdown as the Eagles do, if not even better, because he will give you the play-by-play exactly how it goes. So, and we always appreciate Bill coming back on with us. Also for Diego Medellin, you can look for Diego, as you can see here on the screen. If not, I will tell you Diego Medellin follow him, same thing. And Diego, and from what we understand is and I'll bring up your picture a little bigger, it shows that you're also an actor, and I kind of believe that, obviously, because of the way you, of course, portrayed yourself here. But now that is just how you inflect your voice. So that's pretty nice that you're an actual actor.
Thank you. Yeah, I got my master's degree in Los Angeles in acting for film, and I've been acting since I'm 10 years old. So that's my game, but I'm also a passionate football fan. And I'm juggling both things. And right now I'm doing this project with Pollo about Chiefs Kingdom podcast. So it's in Spanish, but like you can see, if you have any questions about the Chiefs, we can answer them in English, Spanish, and if you give us a little time, maybe French.
Oh, there you go. Josh, of course, we lost him, but he's an avid sports fan. Good stuff and fun times. Live it up. And his Twitter handle, you guys, by the way, it's if you look for AJ, the initials, it'll come up as the Italian GQ52. So, Josh, I feel bad because obviously he's had the issues here and back and forth. Pollo, and your last name is Haidar.
Haidar.
Okay. Just I want to make sure I'm going to really bad here, but the same. So you pronounce for your Twitter handle your last name, first name, correct?
Yes. Don't worry. Even in Mexico, everybody pronounces it the wrong way.
Okay. And I just want to make sure. Crystal, of course, Crystal is more of a Facebook fan, as we've learned. So you can follow Crystal page on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
But if you like to follow her on Twitter, it's Crystal Page 1313. And again, we had a couple of followers that you had last week. You'll probably get a couple more. So just to let you know, check your Twitter handle. And
I'm trying to tweet better.
It'll get there. Believe me, it takes a while. It took me forever when it came to Facebook, and I'm still learning stuff from Facebook. So don't feel bad whatsoever. So I will start with Sherman first and then Fuji. Sherman, your thoughts on the opponents that we have this weekend?
All right, so I have 4 scores written down. And for all the viewers out there, take the Juru's picks with a grain of salt. Last week, straight up, I was 2-4. So at least I got 2 right? As far as the Baltimore-Buffalo games goes, I think it's going to be a track meet. I know that we had spoken before the show had started, and Baltimore went into Buffalo last year, and amazingly, that final score was only 24-17 Baltimore, where Lamar Jackson only threw for 145 yards and rushed for 40 yards, and Josh Allen only threw for 146 yards and ran for 9 yards. But with that being said, I think that this is going to be the most entertaining game of the weekend. I think that Baltimore is going to find a way to win the game by a final score of 31-30. Baltimore-Buffalo. I'm going Baltimore 31, Buffalo 30. The opening game for today, Green Bay against the Rams, 28-17 in favor of Green Bay. I think that Aaron Rodgers is on a mission. I know that I said in the beginning of the show that I absolutely, positively hate taking the chalk, but I just think that Aaron Rodgers is on a mission this year to get to the Super Bowl out of the NFC. As far as the games go for tomorrow, once again, I hate taking the chalk, but how do you go against the Chiefs? This is a team that is well rested, and this is a team, the Kansas City Chiefs, that were 4-0 against playoff teams this year. So Andy Reid finds a way to get the Chiefs ready to play when they're playing against teams that actually qualified for the playoffs this year. I think it's going to be really high scoring. I'm going Kansas City 45, Cleveland 30. I really don't think it'll be that close. I think Baker Mayfield will throw for a lot towards the end of the game to make it a little bit closer. And finally, I know that everybody talks about this game being the most exciting one of the weekend. I don't think it's going to be New Orleans and Tampa Bay. So, Crystal, I'm sure you can attest to this. Remember, I talked about the fact that I thought that the Bears were going to go into New Orleans last week and win that game. And boy, were we wrong, right? New Orleans, they find a way to choke in the playoffs. But for whatever reason, they have Tampa Bay's number this year. Tampa Bay is 1-5 against playoff teams this year. For whatever reason, they have an inflated record. But when they play against those playoff teams, they don't do too well. So I'm going to go third time is the charm for New Orleans to win again. And I have New Orleans winning that game 31-20.
Wow. So, Vito Corleone, you're up next.
Well, I mean, I don't think the Rams are really getting any respect. I mean, they got the number 1 defense. I say Green Bay pulls it out, but I think the Rams are going to come to play with that defense with Aaron Donald because David Bakhtiari's out, the left tackle. So, I mean, don't sleep on the Rams today. I think they're going to show up, but I think Aaron Rodgers is going to pull some magic out and win that game in the end. As far as the night, I'm liking the Ravens because, I mean, the Ravens got some nice D-backs back there as far as Marcus Peters, Jimmy Smith, and Malcolm Humphrey to shut down Cole Beasley and Stephon Diggs. And the Bills' running game, they don't really have a balanced attack. That's the thing with that team. I mean, they both got solid defenses. I'm going to go with the Ravens with the upset.
Okay.
Not by a score, but I just, I think to me, the Ravens are playing with house money, and the Bills have all the pressure on them. As far as the NFC, tomorrow, I think Kansas City, I think they're just a well-oiled machine. They got the first round bye last week, so as much as I could see Cleveland running the ball down their throat, I just think Kansas City's going to come away with it. And as far as Tampa Bay, New Orleans, I think Brady's going to pull one out of his hat tomorrow. And because, like Josh, piggyback off what Josh said, you can't beat a team 3 times in a row. It's hard. I think it might have been done when I think Dallas did it to the Eagles back in 2009. But I just think, Brady with that playoff experience, Brees always seems to choke in the playoffs. So I'm going to go with Tom Terrific in Tampa Bay.
All right. Well, I will tell you from the Rams in Green Bay, I will go with Wayne Henderson because as I said to him when it came to Green Bay, and of course I have to be careful because the producer's in the next room with a Chicago Bears fan, but when it comes to Green Bay, I think even though, the LA Rams defense could bring it, I still think the Green Bay finds a way and fights a way to get in as far as to beat the Rams. So I think it's going to be a tight game. I will still go 28-23 when it comes to Green Bay. As far as the Bills, pardon me, if I can get this together here. I'll bring up the games here so everybody can also see. As far as it comes to Bills and Ravens, and again, and Josh, I feel bad for because he wasn't around. When it comes to the Bills and Ravens, as much as the Ravens can pull this one off, I still think that Josh Allen and crew have a what's the word I'm looking for here? They're trying to win and keep going past just 1995. 95 was, we've seen the last of the Bills, but I think Josh Allen and crew have what it takes to beat the Ravens. That one too will be a high scoring one, but I think it'll end up being 35, possibly 28 Bills or the Ravens. When it comes to Browns and KC, as much as I would like to see Baker Mayfield take that one, I think KC has proven themselves that they can do it. I don't think that won't be, it may be high scoring, but not as much. That one I believe will be down to 28-23. And it comes to Tampa and New Orleans. So with Tampa and New Orleans, I think that Tampa and Tom Brady, the rest of that crew will find a way to end up winning that game. That one might be your high scoring one of the weekend. And I believe they pulled it away by a missed field goal, missed extra point by the Saints, 42-41 Tampa Bay. So at least that's right.
Another bold prediction.
So we'll see. And listen, I can't go against the Shermanators because the Shermanators have had it all season long, just about. So, but they do tend to be wrong. So Mike may have had a point. But listen, guys, thank you so much, Diego, Pollo, Bill, Crystal. Thank you guys for coming back. Of course, if Kansas City advances, which we believe they are, you guys, we'll be talking again come next week for another AFC Championship divisional round. Same way with Bill and Crystal, bringing up, of course, the rest of the NFL. So we'll see you guys all come next week. Vito, thank you as always. I appreciate you always being on here.
I wanted to thank everybody for coming on. We appreciate it. Thanks for getting back to me, guys. Sorry about Josh. I will reach out to him. Hopefully, maybe we can have him on next week.
I'm quite sure we should be able to. Hopefully, it's kind of tough. But Sherman, thank you so much as well for your contribution, and of course the game scores itself. And we'll see. I think we need to come next year. There's got to be a sports betting segment brought to you by the Juru and the Shermanators. I think that's where we're going to go come next season. So, but Sherman, of course, thank you so much for everyone out there who have tuned in and viewed us. Of course, temporarily, we will be back on Facebook, and then we'll make the complete switch over to YouTube. So we do thank for everyone tuning in today. We do appreciate it all. Enjoy the rest of the games. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. I know I'm going to take advantage of this nice sunlight down here in Tampa. So thank you guys. We will see everyone come next week. Enjoy the games. And by the way, Sixers, Flyers on fire. And we'll talk a little more when it comes to them as the NFL season comes to a close. So for everyone else, stay safe, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you.